things rolling. Gotcha. You know, after writing a speech about our past as a class several times, I started second guessing if things even made sense, had significance, or were funny at all. I knew I had to include Pokemon cards, light-up shoes, zip-off pants, and training wheels all into the mix, but what was I missing? After I received advice from other peers on the speech, one man, actually my 70-year-old neighbor, suggested I simply share something from the heart. Now, I'm definitely not the typical Disney movie guy that's going to rip up the speech and give it to you memorized, because one, I wrote this 3 days ago. Freestyling it would be a terrible idea. And two, I ain't about that life. See, since I went to St. Anne's Catholic School from kindergarten through 6th grade, giving a speech from the heart would only apply to 21 of my classmates, and we don't want that. So instead of just sharing my memories, I decided to interview classmates that went to different elementary schools. That way we can all share memories. Yahara Elementary, make some noise! Do you remember the dreadful feeling when you realized that the mac and cheese from last month was being served in an ice cream scooper as today's lunch? At first, it might not have seemed edible, but after a few pokes at the squishy mass of noodles, you learn to shut it down. After enough trips to the bathroom, however, packing a cold lunch became a necessity of the elementary school life. We got anyone from Kaganza Elementary up in here? Do you remember sprinting at the playground to play push down the slide every day? Fighting your way to the top of the old metal slide, you begin to push each other as hard as you could, hence the name Push Down the Slide. Unfortunately, after a few months, the injuries were piling up and the teachers banned the game, leaving nothing but fond memories in the painful sight of an empty slide. It still makes me tear just thinking about it. Fox Prairie Elementary, where you at? Let's be clear, kickball wars were the ish. After lunch every day, all the boys in 4th grade would sprint to the kickball field. Whoever could get there first was declared coolest kid, and thus, chick magnet of the day. And Endrick Crummels was always the first one. The game began with basically all the athletic kids on one team, and anyone worthy enough to kick ball with them. And then the people they despised on the other. Both teams had the support of Michaela Conrad and Jordan Mitchell's cheer squads, though. However, after intense cheer-offs would occur between the rivals, long story short, by the end of the competition, referrals were issued. All right, St. Anne's, give it up. Yep. If there's one memory that stood out to me the most during my St. Anne's career, it was the marriage of Brian Wagner and Megan O'Shea in 3rd grade. A mixed crowd of over 49, 10, and 11-year-olds watched the ceremony take place around the tetherball pole. Sadly, when Brian opted to play recess touch football instead of hanging out with his new wife, Megan claimed that he had commitment issues. The couple was divorced roughly after 45 minutes. Now, after being divided up between 4 schools over a span of 7 years, those of us from St. Anne's met up with everyone else from Sand Hill to all become Sebbies at River Bluff. With all the students coming together, the excitement grew, as did the immaturity. As a class, we collectively decided that the phrase, "Wow, you would do that," was to be said after any activity. During lunch, one table would drag out a cry of, "Wow," until the whole cafeteria joined in, and Mr. Wilson was forced to bring out the megaphone. Of course, our response was, "You would bring out the megaphone." Wow! Despite our inabilities to follow the rules in the classroom, we were always organized and orderly when it came to kickball foursquare. It seemed like hundreds of kids would wait in line to participate, and whenever there was a questionable call, we always blamed for bar scene. Hence the phrase, "when in doubt, the bar's out." And how can I discuss our middle school years without the mention of Mrs. Swinburne? Discussing her teaching habits became an everyday hobby. Instead of using claps to get our attention, she would shove a peace symbol in our faces and say, "Cuckoo-ca-choo." She was a dedicated family and consumer science teacher who had a great passion for human growth and development. I won't go into detail about that though, just like how I won't go into detail about the mystery of the poop in the sink. That case from 8th grade has yet to be closed. Wink, wink. Moving on to high school, it was scary to know that we would be walking the halls with the big dogs. When my brother and I drove to school on the first day, the only stalls that appeared to be open were in Redneck Row. Of course, we decided to park on the street because we didn't want to deal with the consequences of classifying our Camry as cool enough to park next to a monster truck. For the first 2 weeks of high school, the majority of girls in our grade seemed too cool to hang out with our class. They went after the sophomores, the juniors, and in some rare cases, the seniors. Hearing almost every girl in our grade fantasize about Neil McMillan made me come up with my first goal of high school: become Neil McMillan. However, after seeing how many likes his photos averaged on Facebook, I knew I couldn't compete with him. I didn't have the body, the popularity, or the time. Freshman year was already difficult enough keeping our grades up, especially if one took advanced physical science with Mr. Goodnary. To me, it seemed like the multiple choice text questions were followed by 5 identical answers. Example, what is 2 plus 2? A, 4. B, 4.0. C, 4.00. D, B, and C, or E, all of the above. But after getting to know Mr. Goodnary, he didn't seem that intimidating. If you wanted the A, you had to do 2 things. 1, work hard. And 2, go off the track. Sophomore year was when everyone got their licenses. It was overwhelming because we not only had to stay off the sidewalks, but with the new influx of drivers, the competition became fierce to be the first to get to Page Street Pizza for 2 Slice Tuesdays. During Tuesday's lunch period, the speed limit on Robey Road did not apply to us. For the next Fast and Furious movie, all they have to do is film Robey Road on Tuesdays. It's that simple. Returning from 2 Slice Tuesday, I remember all the girls talking about the student teacher, Mr. Doverspike. His undeniable hotness, as the girls would say, was something that all the guys envied. However, the fantasies about being Mrs. D. Spike's wife died down after the semester was done. Junior and senior year, we were finally upperclassmen. Being the top dogs at the school, we developed a mindset of our own. Going to class on time became a declining priority. So much, in fact, that the PBIS crew made a tardy boot camp video. It featured Mr. Cruz, Mr. Shimon, and Mr. Benzikin detailing the benefits of putting a student through tardy rehab. And although the film showed some improvements in tardy results, it didn't stop the we do what we want mentality. I mean, at junior year's homecoming, the majority of the school chose to walk out because of the enforced no grinding. We ended up forming a dance party in Tony Bo's cul-de-sac. Yeah, that got shut down pretty quick. But, I mean, it was fun while it lasted. Now when I look back on senior year, I think of it as the year that I realized just how lucky we are. I look at my friends, and I just laugh because they send all these memories rushing back to me. I realize now that a lot of people despise my friend group. Okay, almost everyone hated us. But I wasn't going to let what people think about me stop me from having fun. So, I want to thank all of you in the class of 2014 for making these past 4 years a blast and for making my childhood one to remember.